Welcome into this spoiler-filled review of the latest entry in the Superman franchise, and this one a very important entry because it really sets the tone for the entire DCU. I am Tim Melton. Thank you for joining us here. If this is your first time consuming Meltdown content, welcome. We'd love for you to subscribe if you love all things movies, especially superhero movies, as we cover those here on the channel often. We are in the Culver studio, and I'm joined by the one and only E.G. E.G., welcome into this spoiler discussion.
Thank you. I'm excited. I've been wanting to talk about the spoilers. I almost ruined it on the live show, so this is good for me.
This is good. You are in a safe space for the spoilers for sure. And we have Tyler Lionel Johns, who's fresh off of watching every single Superman movie. If you missed his ranking, it's there on the live show. He's put it all into perspective of what his least favorite to favorite superhero Superman featured movies are, and make sure you watch that for the full context of where Tyler lands on this. Tyler, I know you have been very excited about seeing this movie finally. It's been an exhausting wait, and we have now consumed it. You've consumed it 2 times.
2 times. Because, I went home, ate dinner, grabbed a shower, using my soap.
I love you act out the shower. Like we wouldn't possibly know.
Lathering up. Yeah. And I just have the theme song stuck in my head.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, time to go to the movies again. And I caught a late night showing.
Superman has felt stuck in the late 1970s for a long time cinematically, where it's like, can we resurrect this character that was oh so important during that time period on screen for a modern audience? Some people fell in love with the Henry Cavill version of Superman. Some people really had an affinity for Superman Returns in 2006, but it wasn't a successful enough rollout for that franchise to continue there. But I have felt personally that since Superman 2, we have not had a Superman adventure that I have been able to fully enjoy. That changed with James Gunn's Superman. So I'll just right out of the gate tell you that I really enjoyed the experience. Is it as good of a film as what we got with Superman and Superman 2? Personally, I don't think so. Check out Tyler's rankings for more information about where he stands on all of that. But mission accomplished on starting the DCU. Mission accomplished on giving people something that they can go into an air-conditioned theater, have the popcorn and the soda, have a thrill ride, feel like you're flying with Superman. Like, the technical aspect of this movie is insane. We're going to be getting into a lot of the story beats here. Once again, this is your final warning. We're going to get full spoilers. So here we go. I hated what they did with Jor-El in this movie.
Now, I assume we're talking about the second half of that message.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They turn him into a tyrannical, they turn him into a bad guy.
I mean, so the way I was looking at this was, all right, well, it kind of makes sense that Superman would need to do that if, the whole mission is to rebuild Krypton, and then I also remembered all the more recent takes on Batman we've gotten, where you're exploring the corruption of the Wayne family a little bit more, and finding out that there's an entirely different dimension to those characters that have been established and beloved for so long, and typically are seen as these tragic, almost saint-like figures that are dying so their kids can live and become something more, protect the greater good, everything like that.
I get there's going to be a lot of spin on the motivations behind it and a bunch of, it works for me because narratively, it would make sense for them to want to send their only son to a planet where he can conquer and have many wives and many kids and rebuild the race and all that stuff.
It is not in line with traditional Superman, though.
No, it's not. And I felt like it was an unnecessary character destruction. I'm not the type of person that goes in completely protective of all of these characters that I grew up with and love and all this stuff. You can't possibly have a different take. We've had so many different versions of Batman, and there's something about each and every one of them that I appreciate. But there's also stuff Ben Affleck firing a gun at people that I'm like, I don't know about this. But to destroy Jor-El for what I felt like was very limited gains.
Okay.
Narratively, it frustrated me that we had to go there. Now, could that be explored further in other stuff in the DCU that makes me warm up to it? Maybe. And am I going to sit out the next James Gunn produced or directed feature in this cinematic universe? No, I'm not. I'm not at a point where I'm like so angry about it that it's ruined the movie for me. I just felt like it was completely unjustified, and I felt like all the characters, they took it literally very quickly in the movie.
Yeah, there was no questioning of like, if you hold your parents' esteem, why are you taking this at face value?
Yeah, like there wasn't I really need to research and see for myself whether or not
it was doctored.
Like he just took it as like, well, I mean, I guess it's fine. We're in a point where here in our society right now, even seeing things, you can't believe them because of the technology. You're telling me some sort of Kryptonian technology can't be altered, and like there was just absolutely everyone just accepted, yeah, this is the truth.
I guess the whole reason behind that is like all the news broadcast stations were saying we've had linguists look at it and we've had forensic data analysts look at it. That doesn't
for it to all like be overturned in 30 seconds. I was kind of like, that's a big ideology change to just happen.
Yeah, and it turns the character of Superman against his parents. Totally. Fully.
Because the end, it's not those parents, it's mom and pa at the end that he's watching.
Yeah, I liked that.
But it's done in a way to intentionally, once again, at the beginning of the movie, what he finds joy in is being able to hear from the original, his original biological parents. At the end of this, they do the swerve of, you think you're going to get that again, and instead it is the adoptive parents. Now, once again, could you make the argument this is the most pro-adoption movie of all time? Maybe so. My parents, adoptive parents. Like, adoption's been a part of my life forever. I'm not anti-adoption, at all because I've lived it. It's part of my family construct. But I do think that in Superman lore, it's a big swing that's going to divide some fans of, do we destroy the reputation of what is Krypton right out of the gate for just the gain of being able to give Luthor a bad guy edge when he didn't need it? Like, he was already like making strides without it. I don't know. I'm not there yet on that. I can just consume that and be like, wait, we're not going to explore that more. It's a movie that has a lot in it. It moves quick, but I'm like, we're not going to explore that more. That's a big thing. Yeah. That's a huge Superman thing. And I need that explored more in television. I need it explored more in movies. I need it more like with Star Wars, with Rise of Skywalker. It's like Palpatine's back. Well, why and how? He just is. And in this one, it's like,
they're evil.
They're evil. Why? How? Please, gosh, I need more. Can we just pause for a second? This is a lot to take in as a fan. And it's like, no, we got to keep going. Let's talk about things we really liked. Okay. This thing is action-packed, thrill ride.
Yep.
Has a pace. They took the risk of, we're going to get this thing started right out of the gate. E.g., we've talked about how this is something that could push someone like you away, who's not watching the 8 movies before, who's not caught up in the lore, who doesn't have that connection, that just wants to watch a summer movie that checks those boxes. Overall, did you get enough of that to recommend it fully?
Yes and no. I think that if you just, like we said in the beginning, if you want a movie that you will have a fun time at, that it'll be culturally relevant, you're going to like this movie. But if you're going for more of the story, or if you're wanting to go understand exactly the nuances, you're going to leave feeling overwhelmed. So for me, I think that my demographic, they're going to want to see more Clark Kent. They're going to want to see more Lois. They're going to want to see more Daily Planet of like, wait, how does that work? What is the dynamics there? They're going to want to see more of that chemistry.
The human side of the story.
The human side of the story. They're not going to want to see a pixelated river of whatever that stuff was.
That was one of several moments where I thought, man, I hope EG just doesn't hate this movie because this isn't landing for her. I know it isn't.
That was just like, okay, let's get out of that weird pocket universe. But you know what I think was so necessary? The execution of the little worker.
Yeah.
That to me was like when I kind of leaned in a little bit to what was going on. I thought that was necessary to show Lex Luthor's evil side and like what actually was taking place.
From a filmmaking technical perspective of this, the timing of when he ends up executing him as well, because it's all random because he's playing Russian roulette with him.
Yeah.
The fact that it happens on the second shot
is
jarring.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like effectively jarring.
Whoa. And even Lex Luthor getting a little like thrown off, like, oh, I didn't expect it to happen that quickly.
Correct. Let's talk about the fantastical side of this. Rank these for me, Tyler. In Guy Gardner, in Mr. Terrific, and in Hawk Girl. How would you rank those 3?
Oh, I have mine.
For who?
Mr. Terrific, number one, obviously. He was the only one that I felt like really made some gains in terms of like likability. Guy Gardner's still in the same place he was for me before I saw this movie. I've never been a Guy Gardner fan.
Yeah.
And this movie's just like, yep, that's all of the reasons why I've never liked Guy Gardner.
The haircut doesn't help.
Yeah, the haircut definitely doesn't help. And then Hawk Girl just... How does Isabela Merced land like the biggest HBO show of the past few years to go into this movie and not do anything?
Pretty much
really?
be an afterthought.
Yeah.
She was able to attack an eyeball for a hot minute.
That was it.
Yeah. I'm with you in that every single ranking, I think, is going to have Hawk Girl last because not as many at-bats. I actually really, like, you walked out, and I've had this sentiment with other people that I've talked with of like, that's not Green Lantern, like that's not the Green Lantern I want. And that's the whole point of why Guy Gardner's in the movie, right? To deprive you of Hal Jordan and deprive you of
Jon Stewart too.
Exactly. What you'd expect is like he'd be everyone's last pick for the kickball team.
He's supposed to be unlikable.
He's supposed to be, and he's supposed to be arrogant, and I thought it worked really well.
He's a try-hard, and he's just awful in every way.
Yeah.
I love the whole quippy thing at the end of like, yeah, you're not getting in this group, and he's like, but I really like the name of it. He's like,
Yeah, okay, you're
all right,
in.
you're in.
Yeah,
Like immediately,
that
like
was
it's
good.
That worked.
I
very
liked
good.
that. I thought Hot Girl was so irrelevant to the whole thing.
Yeah.
They could have done way more with her because that was something for me. Like, oh, I recognize her.
Yeah.
But then I was like, you're kind of just there.
Jimmy Olsen.
I loved him.
Best depiction of Jimmy Olsen ever.
It's a relatively low bar, but Jimmy Olsen as ladies' man in this, man, I mean, he was, you've talked about David Corenswet on our live show and, him being in GQ and the transformation and all the swooning. But in this universe, Jimmy Olsen's the one bagging all the looks
It's
and
the
all
nice
the talks.
guy.
And,
It's
and
always a nice guy.
He's just the one. He's an absolute player in this. And some of the funniest character moments, because this movie, when it's at its best, is kind of what you want in a relationship drama.
Yeah.
Relationship, like romantic comedy sometimes, and sometimes a romantic drama. And like the stuff between Lois and Clark is great, but Jimmy Olsen having to manage, his love affairs.
And like,
it becomes a whole vibe.
The scene of him going to meet the source, your imagination just is running wild. Like, who is he about to see? Like, who is he about to meet right now? And then when it's her, you're like, what? And like the mutant toes being like the contact, and then it's her. It's so funny.
Yeah. Luthor, his entire array of talent that he has at his disposal, not only his group of network IT team that's there and there. I love him yelling what commands to throw like he's a Mortal Kombat player.
I love that.
Gosh, I loved that. Thought it was great. Love Lex Luthor in this. Love Nicholas Hoult's interpretation of Lex Luthor. Feels that right level of intrigue and villainy and menace. But what did you make of sort of the rogues gallery of this movie? And we haven't been able to talk about because you get right into, with the reveal of Superman is fighting his own DNA. Is this a setup for Bizarro? Is this a setup for...
Yes.
It is, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically, they're halfway there.
Yeah. Like, what did you make of the
rogues
rogues
gallery? All you need to do
gallery?
is just make him look, blah, sort of looking.
How did y'all handle the Fortress of Solitude not only being wrecked, but Crypto under attack?
So I'm not high on the engineer. It's just I also don't like the nanite technology. I think Marvel has just beaten that horse to death and then kept going until it reformed itself into a new horse somehow. So that whole power system of being able to manipulate the nanites, it didn't work for me, and I just wanted her to get off the screen most of the time.
I think people, especially with the Crypto angle, legitimately wanted to see these people
dead.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what I was confused about is like, was she dead? Because I thought it was like, oh, she's still conscious, she has a heartbeat, but then it just went straight into the other guy.
I think they've kind of kept it
Like,
to where they could go either route.
Yeah, that's 100% what it is.
I
We either see her crawling out of a hole in Superman 2, or we don't see her again.
the vibe I got was the Batman Begins Liam Neeson death, in that Superman, it very much like, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. With him just letting gravity determine their fate.
That's what okay, let me add this, because I want to talk about that scene. I felt like my favorite aspect of Superman in this came at this point when he kind of stopped apologizing for being Superman. Like when Lex Luthor was like, go kill him, he's like, yeah, good luck with that. I guess once he realized he was fighting himself, he could be a little more ruthless. But I wanted to see that the whole time. Like him having to restrain himself just is dumb to me. And I get that there's a lot of reasons, but I felt like once that scene happened and like the mask comes off, that's when I felt like, okay, we saw Superman at his best.
Is this your favorite Superman characterization? I mean, I know Christopher Reeve, for you're not someone who's going to feel like you have to protect that interpretation of the character at all. Like, is David Corenswet your Superman?
Yes.
And tell me why it worked so well for you. Why you care more about Superman today than ever before in your history of your life.
Because I guess the simplest way to put it is he's the antithesis of the Henry Cavill Superman. And I think that there's more heart in this story than there was in the entirety of the DCEU. I think there's more humanity in this story, particularly in him visiting Smallville when he gets the kryptonite poisoning and he has to recover at the old Kent farm. I think that is one of the strongest scenes in the movie, and I think that is really, I mean, I went into this thinking the emotional core would be the Clark and Lois situation, but it's really Superman just loving his parents so much and like figuring out who he is based. I don't know what I'm saying at this point.
No. I get identity.
Yeah.
An important part of this character and the characterization. Me and EG are probably in the minority of Ma and Pa Kent not really working for us, the interpretation of like that very, very not only down to earth, but like super backwoods sounding. Yeah,
and like almost dumb at times.
Yeah, like not knowing how to work a phone.
Because that was just...
the question was, where does it go from being like charming and inviting to like, is this really what is thought of this salt of the earth type of people? I don't know. To me, I was just like on that balance of like, there's a line and they're just tiptoeing right up to it. And are they going to cross it? And I don't know. To me, it just didn't, the characterizations and the voice work. My gosh, you could have poured syrup on it. I mean, it was
maple
just
syrup.
Absolutely. But it works for you because once again, you find that to be the connective tissue that makes the Clark part of the story really resonate, right? I mean,
absolutely. When he's sitting outside with Pa Kent and they're just talking about like what his parents' message could mean and everything. And Pa Kent says, well, I think what you wanted that message to mean says a lot more about you than whatever was actually in it.
Yeah.
And then he tells him that he's so proud of him and couldn't be more proud. Yeah. I thought that was just the strongest moment in the film because it really it's the catalyst, I think, for Superman saying, yeah, you know what, I am human. I might come from Krypton, but I'm human.
He's
Paul
really
Kent is my father figure.
He's really struggling with his identity in the movie, which every Superman tale to some degree has dealt with. And I love the scene of Lois being in his childhood room looking at all the different stuff that's happening, all the trophies, all the posters, all the influences, like what made him, the human side of him. I thought that was all extremely, very, very, very strong.
Yeah, I thought it's the tiniest little detail, but it works so well for me is the fact that Clark says like, oh, I'm punk rock. And he brings up, whatever band it was.
Oh, the poster.
Yeah. And then Lois is just like, yeah, that's pop. That is not punk rock. And it's just such a sweet sort of version of rebellion from Clark. And I think that embodies a lot of the energy of the movie too, because James Gunn has said in interviews that the fact that Superman is just wholly good and just a squeaky clean Boy Scout the whole time is subversive today, because a lot of those values are not valued anymore.
So on Spotify, I believe they've released like character playlists.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
And there's a Clark playlist that's all like early 2000s punk rock stuff that you can listen to and be like, this is what Clark grew up on, which helps instill this version of the character a little bit even more. So that's an important part of the DNA. It's one that not a lot of Superman fans would think they would go with right off the bat, but it works for this iteration. Like, there's a lot of things that works for this version of Superman at this time, when they need Superman to be very much a uniter that brings people into the fold, to later become that leader that you care about. Yeah. Like, let's just think about it real quick. You did not ever get a Brandon Routh follow-up. You did not ever get a solo Henry Cavill follow-up. I think this is the first time they're going to be correct about this since the Christopher Reeve era, where you're going to get a David Corenswet-led Superman 2.
Yes, I would agree with that.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
And while this movie does a great job of having all these side characters having something to do, something to say, something to stand for, we need more Superman in the next movie even. Like, this was a great launching point, but we need that. Let's talk about Krypto.
Okay.
You were emotionally connected to Krypto?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You said best part of the movie when we walked out. Do you still feel that way?
I do, but, well, no. Corenswet and Lois's chemistry.
Yeah.
That was the best part, but Krypto was awesome. I thought that it was unexpected how like poorly trained he was. That kind of made me laugh, that he wasn't really like his like sidekick that's gonna like save him. He actually like makes things more difficult at times. But I thought that was well done.
And Tyler, we found out why.
Yep.
With Supergirl entering the mix. They're in the Fortress of Solitude, not being able to figure out what the right entrance is because she's been partying over there with the Red Suns, getting lit. The next movie, or the movie that Supergirl is going to have in 2026, is supposedly going to be about her turning 21 and going out. And
is that the premise?
That's the premise. She's turning 21 and she's like sort of
hitting the town. She's like in that party girl phase, and Jason Momoa is going to be right there along with her, sort of like this tragedy
a party movie, while also having to like be a superhero, fight, figure out what you stand for, but like go through that phase of like early 20s trying to figure life out. Like on paper, once again, sounds like an absolute misstep. I promise you, when you bet against but it's her and Krypto together.
Yeah, I'm struggling to figure out how that works, but I'm sure it works. I'll walk out of that movie calling it cinema, I'm sure.
Did you like the Supergirl addition to this movie? Was that good flavor at the end for you, or did you?
It's fine.
I liked it.
Okay.
It's fine. I honestly would have preferred Krypto being just Superman's dog.
Yeah.
Because I'm more used to the stories where that is the case. But yeah, fine. I have a bigger problem with Supergirl's only line being where she calls Superman a bitch.
That's also true. That happens in there.
Part of me's like, at times I agree.
Some girls got to come in there and call him out, huh?
Like him apologizing in the post-credit scene for being a jerk.
That's Superman. That is traditional Superman.
I'm like, just stop.
Yeah.
Like 78 Superman walks in and he's just like, oh, golly gee, I'm sorry. To everything.
Yeah. His Clark is very much over the top Superman. Of like, his Superman is very much like, oh, I'm here and everything's fine now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're right. That balance of Clark and Superman, this movie does a good job at that. They don't really explain a whole ton about the glasses and how.
Yeah.
Like it was real quick line, Lewis saying like, the glasses won't fool everyone.
Yeah, and then
the appearance.
The talk about how the technology alters the appearance, and I would have loved to have seen like what are other people seeing then.
Yeah.
Like, I would have loved a shot of that.
Yeah, just one shot of like what does Jimmy Olsen see?
Exactly. Jimmy Olsen is seeing a lot from what I can tell. Jimmy needs to stay hydrated. Anyway, this movie, right? When we look at big picture, it accomplishes what it needs to accomplish. What will it do box office wise? That's a whole nother debate and discussion, which we'll have after its initial weekend, really. I mean, this thing has ranged so far from, is this going to be a less than $100 million hit? Is this going to be an over $100 million hit? It did really well in Thursday night previews, but that's all the people that are already like committed to seeing this movie. What's it going to do Saturday, Sunday, into next week and into the weekends ahead, especially facing some competition later on with Fantastic Four. But see this on a premium screen. It's a fun ride. I apologize. I had some kryptonite cereal and it is affecting me. But the use of kryptonite in this, not overused. It makes sense narratively. Metamorpho is not somebody we've really had a chance to talk about. I think overall, I'm very satisfied with the movie. For me, it's a 4 out of 5. There's just some little things with the parental aspects that I'm not there yet on. I want to see more exploration. I need more, not less. That's a good thing, that I have a bigger appetite for this universe, these stories, these characters. And I think James Gunn did a great job of introducing a lot in a short amount of time. So I'm very excited for it. I think there is probably an extended version of this movie that I like even more, but it worked for me. 4 out of 5. What's your final score, EG?
I would say 3.5 out of 5.
3.5 out of 5 upon initial viewing.
Yep.
And we'll see if that changes at all as the years go on, because there will be more movies that add to the lore of this one.
I definitely will see whatever transpires next. I'm bought enough for that, and I definitely want to see David Corenswet continue. That's got to take precedent for me.
Tyler, you've seen this movie twice.
Yeah, 4 to 4.5.
Okay. So 4 to 4.5 for this movie, and I know you're bought into James Gunn and seeing sort of what he continues to establish television and movie-wise. That's going to do it for our spoiler review of Superman. Those are our initial thoughts. We'll have more Superman discussion here on the channel as we track the box office numbers and talk about the impact of the film. We'll definitely be talking about this movie when it comes to movies that rank in our best movies of the year by the end of it. I feel very confident that this will be a big talking point there as well. That's going to do it for us. We appreciate our title sponsor. That's MyBookie at mybookie.ag. You can bet on anything, anywhere, anytime there at MyBookie. Use promo code next round there for that deposit bonus there at mybookie.ag. For EG, for Tyler, I'm Tim. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you again right here on The Meltdown.